Hello. Can you guys hear me? Yes.
We're just
Awesome.
sharing on LinkedIn.
You're on LinkedIn. Okay, good. Chris is here, but he's going to join in on his laptop because I have the headphones and he couldn't hear me. So, or hear you guys. So, thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate.
Everybody can hear you.
Yeah. No, over there online. He likes to tease me that I talk loud, but whatever. So yeah, Chris is going to come in. Hi everyone watching on YouTube and LinkedIn Live. This is the Business AF podcast, and this is episode 17. And we have Amy and Caitlin from Simply Social Media. They are the owners and collaborators of all things influencer marketing. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
So can you tell me a little bit about your business and how you guys got started in terms of working together?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we met on Instagram.
Ta-da!
So back in 2014, we were both being social and posting pictures and liking each other's pictures. And that's kind of how this all started. I reached out to Amy and I said, hey, I love your pictures. I've never seen a lot of those locations. Would you mind showing me around? And then we completely hit it off and had all these great ideas.
Instantly clicked around Instagram specifically in ways that we could collaborate. So we literally started, like, our first IRL meeting was all about, like, how can we collaborate? How can we work together? So we started a Instagram platform, an account that is now one of our biggest micro influencer accounts, Simply Santa Fe NM, and it's all about collaboration. We literally use user-generated content every time we post to talk about everything local that's happening with businesses. There's events, lots of creators here in Santa Fe. It's a very community-centered and collaborative community in real life already. So to make that jump to the virtual was pretty easy.
Absolutely. People meet each other through the platform. They get inspired.
Yeah, one of our biggest fans and supporters actually followed that platform for a year before she moved here and made so many connections that when she landed in San Diego, she was like already part of the community. So yeah, it's really cool the way people can collaborate and utilize that technology.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting in terms of the brand that you created together. But just going back a little bit in terms of like really hitting it off and realizing that you wanted to start this together, I'd like to know maybe some like collaboration. I think a lot of people talk about it, but they don't actually do it. And so I would like to know like what characteristics you guys saw in each other that you knew that this was something you had to do.
I think there was a lot of, when we met, a lot of yes and, right? A lot of like, oh, what about this idea? What about this idea? What about these people together?
Yeah. So we had met through a collaboration that the city had put on. They started a hashtag campaign to get more young people aware of Santa Fe as like a really cool place to be and live and work. And so there was already like this collaborative air about how we met. And then obviously through that platform that can be so collaborative if you let it. And so, yeah, like Caitlin said, we're like, this is so cool. What's happening? What can we do? How can we build on that? Really happened to be in a space and place where in our lives where we were ready for that. So that was also helpful. We were very motivated to do some kind of project together. We're also both Tauruses. Our birthdays are within 5 days of each other, which I think is hit or miss with Tauruses. Either love or hate each other. We just also both have a lot of similarities. Coincidentally, we're both from Michigan.
Okay.
We also have a lot of differences, but there was just collaboration around everything we were doing as soon as we met, and we just took it and ran.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because I think a lot of people try it. Like I said, they say they're about collaboration, but there's some deep down competition in there.
absolutely.
So, I mean, the hashtag we like to use is collaboration over competition. And it's hard. It's a hard, I think you have to constantly work at it, and you have to leave your ego aside. You have to be very dedicated to the concept of collaboration, not necessarily always being in 100% control of everything that happens with a collaboration. You have to let others in. Yeah, it's work.
You never know what'll happen.
It's work, definitely. For sure.
Right. Yeah, I think that I mean, I've had some collaborations that just kind of fizzle out, and I think it's because it becomes work and not fun.
Right.
And I think there's a good balance in there. So you guys find a lot of similarities in your personalities, and just things that you're doing and able to have this successful business. Have those characteristics in terms of your roles and responsibilities and tasks changed over time since you've been working together?
And they're still changing. In fact, we're working with a business coach now, and we're doing a whole new workflow update to get a little more seamless. And, things change. We had 3 employees last year. This year we have none. So we're scaling and changing. And I would say really, honestly, the key to our being able to collaborate as business partners on top of all the collaboration we do with our clients is communication.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Like I said, it will fizzle out, right? If there's not 2 or 3 or 4, or however many people involved in the collaboration, if everyone isn't equally invested, they will fizzle out. It's really too hard for 1 or 2 people to carry something.
Right. Yes, I can definitely identify with that because I have a co-host. This podcast would have been done if it weren't for him, because I was like, oh, this is so much work. And I was like, oh, well, let's keep moving. Let's just change. And
oh, yeah. It really helps to have somebody else as like another cheerleader, right? Another person saying, look what we can accomplish when we partner together and really work on our goals and to our strengths.
Yeah,
right.
We would not have done what we have done separately. Yeah. So everything literally is built on a foundation of.
Well, thank you for joining us, Chris. Hi.
Yeah. Technical difficulties.
He's been here the whole time, so he's listening. And so do you have something you want to ask them, Chris, specifically based on what we've been talking about?
As a team, what struggles have you found working together?
I think it's when we're not communicating.
I would agree with
that is when we really struggle. And then if we're not talking about things, they can build into resentments of I'm doing this, she's not doing that. And, not constantly working on that communication and who's doing what and how things are happening. And those resentments build up. It's like it's a relationship.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, it's like a marriage or a partnership, or we constantly have to be working at it. So we've noticed when we're not communicating, things don't go well.
And is this your guys' like full-time job? Pretty much,
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I'm also a professional photographer. I do wedding photography and some events, but this takes up the majority of
yes, it's full time.
So I'd like you to just, you talked about your collaboration and the Instagram account that you created. So what do you actually do for clients?
All kinds of things.
I know it's
and also evolving and changing depending on the collaboration. But specifically, we are an influencer and social media marketing agency. Really scaling to do a lot more of the influencer marketing. And so the main way that we approach that kind of work is event-based. So Instagram came up with the concept of an Insta Meet, which is bringing people from the virtual world online, Instagram, to a place in real life to meet up together. So we've built on that concept and do that for organizations and businesses. So for example, one of our clients we've been working with going into our 3rd year now is a spa resort, Sunrise Springs Spa Resort. And we bring groups of people there for weekend stays. and they will have their experience. They will post about it. The spa, gets tons of social promotion outside of their normal audiences, so they're reaching new demos. They also have access to all of that user-generated content that is produced during those events. And there's, also a lot of the people who have been there are now brand ambassadors. Like even after they have posted their contracted amount, they're still talking about their experience and so there's a lot of different, trickle down effect.
That kind of reminds me of what NASA is doing, and I don't know if you guys have seen any of the stuff that I posted about NASA, but they do NASA social, so they invite people that are active online, and they come and they write blogs and do videos and tweet and do all that stuff, and it's the same thing. You're pushing out like NASA content with other people, and you don't have to. You just invite them to get this exclusive access.
Exactly. It's all about that exclusive access, really.
Yeah, definitely. So
we have to collaborate with the client to, produce or the event itself. And then we also have to collaborate with our influencers, those groups carefully to make sure that the people we're bringing there, really will do what we hope they will do. So we're constant collaboration.
Yeah, I think one thing I want to touch on it, and I guess clarify, because I know a lot of people, I think outside of the marketing world, they think influencer means Kim Kardashian or someone that's like has millions of followers. What?
That's always my example. Whenever we speak about this, I'm always picking on the Kardashians.
How do you combat those misconceptions about what an influencer is and in your business, and how do you convey that to other people?
There's a lot of education around that.
Yeah.
That's the topic that we speak about at conferences. It's educating people about like how to look for the right type of influencer, how to spot somebody that might be fake or that's not really kind of somebody that you would want to work with. And so we teach people about using micro influencers and why those are better than using mega or celebrity influencers.
Yeah,
like
we
Kardashians.
use almost exclusively micro and nano influencers.
Oh, nano influencer. I haven't heard that before. So
yeah, there's a lot of different thoughts about the numbers exactly that make up different categories. But in general, nanos from about 500 to 10,000, micros about 10 to 100,000.
Okay.
Honestly, numbers are less important to us than engagement.
Right.
I would rather have someone at our event who has 500 followers but can create that conversation. If there's 20, 40, 50 comments, that's way more important than someone with 20,000 that has zero engagement.
Right.
Right. Yes, I've seen that. I think last week I saw someone with 19,000 followers and 6 likes.
Yeah. So that's like,
those are bots.
Yeah.
That's that's not influence.
Right. So somebody that lives in the social media world, we see that, and obviously, we know what's going on, but there's a lot of education since influencer marketing is still a new concept.
Right. Exactly. I think
it already has like this reputation that we have to battle against. So it's not just education. This year, we're really focusing on trying to change that conversation about what influencer marketing can do.
Who are some of the biggest influencers that you guys have worked with?
Ooh, good question.
In terms of numbers, there is a woman named Ja-Soon Kim, and she has over 100,000, which for our region is a lot. We're pretty regionally focused, so all of New Mexico, parts of Colorado, Arizona, kind of our area down here in the Southwest. She's probably the biggest in numbers and also just like genuine engagement. She's a pretty massive influencer for our area.
What does she focus on?
She does a lot of
design,
flat lace, and so she's from Hawaii, and so she's got she takes flowers and leaves and lays them out in nice patterns. Shoots them from above.
We actually find, I mean, there's a lot of influencers, especially at the micro and nano level, that have their specific niche, and that's great. But our favorite influencer that we work with, I think the type is someone who can talk to any kind of audience, really. That's the most bang for our buck because their audience is a little more diverse.
Okay. Interesting, because I just started my MMA account pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really like marketing it or anything, but I fight. So
Oh, cool.
it's martial arts or whatever. Like
Yeah.
So it's funny because I just started it maybe a few months ago, and then now I'm starting to have people contact me just for advice, and I'm like, because I feel like I'm not at that level to give advice, but people are asking me like how to get started or just small things.
Yeah, you're clearly doing something right. I think quote unquote experts, like, you're doing what you do, and if it resonates, then you're certainly.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't grow to try and grow my MMA career. I did to try and help grow my business, but to get people on my MMA page to start following my business as well. So it was totally a mistake on trying to help. I guess it is what it is.
Well, I think that
our entire business on like we did not plan this at all.
Yeah, I think it speaks to that, like, everyone is an influencer in some way, whether you think it or not.
Yeah, that's how we start out our presentations when we talk. Is we'll ask people, like, where would you go here in San Diego for coffee? Everyone can tell us, right? You open it in your head, exactly. And you're like, you just influenced me. So really, everyone to some extent is an influencer. Obviously, some people are more they know how to engage, they really create conversation. Those are things we're really looking for. But anyone can build that presence if that's something that they're interested in doing.
Right. Exactly.
You have to be professional.
So you talked about talking or speaking and talking to these groups. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, your 2020 goal is like focus on influencer and then speaking. What's next for you guys in 2020?
Let's see. We want to do more speaking, right? More educating and changing the narrative about influencer marketing, and more training, teaching people locally, building a course online.
Our next speaking gig is at the MDMC.
Yes.
So that's really exciting. We're really excited about that one. We've spoken a lot with the Public Relations Society of America. International conference, 2 years running now. And so we've also talked to a lot of hospitality, sort of niche industries. But this is exciting to get to go talk to, people who live and breathe and die on marketing. So
your influence in that niche can definitely be felt. I mean, I feel it, but what is, like, who is your, like, not ideal client, but like, so if someone you had to collaborate with this year, like this goal, like, this is my goal, I want to collaborate with these people or this organization, who is that? Do you have that in mind?
Our industries that we're really focused on and have done the most work with and just really enjoy and really want to focus our attention on is arts and culture and hospitality. So, I mean, we love the spa work. We want to work with more spas. And, we've worked for 5 years with the Santa Fe Opera. And so we brought large groups up to the opera as basically a social media press preview. So, those industries are really set up for the work we do. It's really doesn't take much to kind of have us step in. We plan unique events, but they already have everything that we need.
Right.
We don't have to create something out of nothing, basically.
Do you have any aspirations to maybe do something like this outside of Santa Fe?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Who are you looking for? Or, like, do you have any dream people you would like to collaborate with?
Spas.
Everywhere.
We're really, really good at that work.
Awesome.
It's relaxing.
How often do you guys get free massages?
Yes, we do. Well, I mean, let's define free. We work for those massages. Yes, we do. But yeah, I mean, that's really our dream client is the hospitality segment.
And clients who get it. That's our big thing for 2020 is we're not going to work with anybody that doesn't value what we do and see the benefit from it.
Because especially with influencer marketing, yes, we can provide you performance data on, posts and hashtags, but a lot of the ROI is in relationships built and community. And so really we want that client who values that aspect of it and wants to hear the anecdotal evidence, wants to see that social proof happening of, conversations and people connecting over their place.
Oh yeah, definitely see that as something that people are gearing towards, at least building relationships. And if you don't have it set up properly, there's no way to quantify that.
Yeah. I mean, even when you do have it set up, it's still hard to quantify that. So that's also, I think overrides actually any kind of industry that we would work with. We're not exclusive to the arts and culture and hospitality, but we are pretty exclusive now to working with clients who value that as a return on investment along with the data.
Right. Exactly.
What about your onboarding process when you start meeting someone new that you're going to work with? How do you engage with that potential client?
We start by asking what their goals are, right?
Yeah,
and so if they already have an idea that they want to do influencer marketing, maybe getting some information on why they see it working for them and their goals. That also kind of will help us see if there's any perceptions that we need to clarify.
Right. Or if your expectations just are not something that we feel like we can meet with what we do. So we definitely always start with objectives that we're in line with that. The other part of the process is actually having that experience for ourselves. So when we started working with Sunrise Springs, they invited us out for the weekend and said, just, come stay for the weekend. Here's your itinerary of things to do, and then do your own things, have an experience, and let's meet back up afterwards and you can tell us how you think we can, work together. And so having some creative space is really important too. We give our influencers pretty much 100% creative freedom. So to get a little bit of that also from the client is pretty essential when we're starting to work with someone.
And which platforms do you work on and don't work on?
We primarily work through Instagram. So most influencer marketing right now is done through Instagram. It is built in a way that works really well. However, we are working on expanding that to other platforms.
Yeah, so we've really started to seek out bloggers because blogging, seems to be having a real resurgence. We are limited to where we can track hashtags. So really love to pull some other platforms in. Twitter, we can do that easily. Twitter doesn't happen to be a very popular platform in our region. So it tends to be more like what's posted, auto-posted to Twitter from Instagram is where our stats come on that end. We'd really love to figure out how to LinkedIn. But so far, hi, LinkedIn. Maybe someone out there in LinkedIn land can tell us. We need a program that can track hashtags on LinkedIn because that's of our performance data is on. We have a specific event hashtag for every event that we do.
Yeah, there's definitely some tools out there, so we can talk about that.
Good, great.
Yeah, and then the other thing is we always talk about it to a client of what they're able to provide as far as an experience or what they're able to offer the influencers because we've been doing this a while that we know what people are willing to work for and what's like that's not an incentive.
Right. Because primarily the influencers we work with are not paid monetarily. Right. The value of the experience.
So have you had any bad experiences with an influencer?
Oh, yes. Yes, we have.
Are you at the freedom to talk about that?
I mean, obviously, we're not going to name
No
names.
names.
We're not going to name names. But I think the biggest, like, kind of if we can paint brush the persona, is that just real egocentric type of an influencer who's like me. And because we do mostly event-based work, that's very off-putting to other influencers. So then it really, that cohesion of creating a community during that event is really diminished. That person who's like, hello.
Just like that.
Keelan doesn't like that.
Especially her. Anyway. And honestly, it's been typically influencers with higher numbers.
Right.
We have found the, micro influencers and nano influencers that just
they appreciate it.
They
more,
appreciate it
right?
more.
They're more humble.
Yeah.
They're excited. They're like, yeah, what can we do? That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we've had people, reach like areas where we were not supposed to go. At the Santa Fe Opera, we were there for dress rehearsals. And so there's activity happening when we're backstage touring, and there's certain places you're not supposed to go. And they're very clear about that. And people still, well, I'm special. I need to get this shot. So that, puts our relationship with our client in jeopardy. So we are very, very careful about who we invite. We vet very heavily. I mean, we have obviously benchmarks. Everyone has to have a public Instagram account so we can track those hashtags and everyone can see that content. Certain numbers, that we need people to have. But yeah, we're very thorough. We communicate with everyone. I don't think we've ever, very few people we've invited to an event without having already established a relationship with them. So yeah, a lot of work goes into building relationships before we even have them come, because we've learned through those experiences.
It's our reputation. We want to continue to do this.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
What about meme influencers? Are you guys into that?
We haven't really so far, but I mean, again, we're not we've had some people do YouTube. So while Instagram they have to have an Instagram account. That is the focus, but we're happy when people can share on other platforms. So we've had some bloggers from YouTube that have contributed. So we're not opposed. What's the thing about the influencer marketing fields is that there aren't really boxes. Like, we're really making this stuff up for the most part in communities. So, show me a meme influencer who can really add value to that client, and totally.
Yeah, I know a few.
I know your wheels are turning. Probably.
I know a few, but their reputation, I don't know if I would feel good about approaching my client.
Yeah, I mean, with social media, it's always changing. So we always have to try to stay on top of that too. Like, what is the new trend? Where are people? And why we're looking at LinkedIn more.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of trends, what trends do you guys see forthcoming?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
On Instagram.
So definitely, I mean, it's been in the works, but more authenticity. There was something that I saw on Facebook today about Instagram specifically limiting posts that they can tell are manipulated too heavily. This is going to affect a lot of our, not a lot of our influencers, but a lot of people that we know online, for better or for worse. And so we're interested to kind of see how that goes. Like, just because a photo is manipulated, like I'm seeing like landscape photographers need to manipulate things sometimes. Is it too much to where it needs to be blocked or monitored? I don't know.
I think Instagram is coming back from that like super high level curation. It started out Insta, right? Like, you literally had to take it in app and post it. So that concept was very like genuine, authentic from the beginning. And then, we all got involved, and then it became this like super highly curated place where I can't post this because it doesn't exactly match. We're kind of coming back down to like a nice happy middle ground between a little more authenticity while still retaining your aesthetic, having a ton of fun with stories. Stories just keep getting bigger and bigger. Caitlin, for a while, has definitely been on the side of watching more stories than feed posts.
Oh yeah. I'll refresh it, and if I see one new story, I'll watch it. Right, I'm constantly watching those stories.
Yeah.
Stories are a big part of Instagram for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy how, to me, I was thinking about this yesterday. I think like Snapchat really influenced all of this. Who would have known that just posting a video for 24 hours would have been a hit? It's like, people prefer that than rather than posting on their actual news feed.
It's the fear of missing out. I'm like, oh, what did my friend do today that I'm not going to know that they did because I'm not watching their story right now?
They give you so many options. Like, you can really have fun. Again, going back to that, like, super highly curated. I definitely put way more thought. I post maybe a couple of times a week on my feed versus, stories, which I'll do pretty much daily and just have fun with, and they're really spontaneous. So you get kind of like two sides to a person almost by following on Instagram.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that certainly helps our marketing efforts because as people are posting less, people aren't posting as much during our events because they want to plan it. They want to think about their posts. They want to be thoughtful about it, but they're cranking out those stories. So we actually get like two bursts, so we get that initial burst with all the stories happening during the event, and then they have like a certain period of time to do their posts. So we get a longer length of time that the client gets promotion. So.
And then you have it like the year later when it comes up in their memories and highlights for it to go over and over.
Yeah, we're starting to build in highlights into our contracts now. We have an event next week where we're going to 2 different spas to soak. We have a lot of thermal and mineral and hot springs here. And in our latest contract, that is built in that they have to keep a highlight on their account through a certain period.
Cool. So going back into like the business side and you guys collaborating and succeeding in business. So how long have you guys been in business as Simply Social Media?
May 2015.
So
almost 5 years.
Yeah, not quite 5 years, although we met in December of 2014. So we've been.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you going to celebrate your 5-year anniversary with a huge Insta meet or something?
Maybe. So it's also right around our birthday, right? Both of our birthdays are in May, so we'll have to do
Yay, May birthdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually we're going to pitch a client after this. So I think
I like
where you're going with that. Yes.
I'll meet you guys out there.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
We are actually, so yes, we do primarily work with micro and nano here regionally, but we are starting to work bringing more people in. So last year with that client, Sunrise, we did bring in some people from out of state.
Nice.
So that's exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome. Chris, do you have something?
No, I don't.
Okay. So if you had to pick what's the one thing in terms of collaboration, what's the secret? What's that one thing that you need in order to make a successful collaboration?
I think not shooting any idea down, right? So we start a lot of our meetings with brainstorming sessions, just kind of throwing things together. You never know where that yes and will lead to your next big thing.
Yeah. Really being open. I think leaving the ego and the control aside, which honestly can it's hard for me. I like to control things. But, if you're sitting down and you're brainstorming, you got to roll with that yes and you have to let others have a voice.
Yeah, I can see that in like where we came up with this idea. We just sat in a room and we whiteboarded all the names and ideas, and I'll have to message you later what we thought we might call it.
Just say live.
No,
say
we
live.
can't.
Say live.
I want to see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Well, whenever we set up our Patreon, maybe we'll talk about it there. So part of our show, we ask one random question to
Uh-oh.
our guests,
You didn't tell us about this one.
Oh, go on.
just to get to know you better. So it's going to come up on the screen here. If you had to pick any character in a book or a movie who is similar to you and why. So I'm going to pick Amy first.
Oh, hot. Oh man, if you had to pick any character in a book or a movie, man, it really put me on the spot. Okay, let's see. I mean, I think we all want to be Joe in Little Women, right?
Mhm.
Personally, I do.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't. That's kind of top of mind because it's one of my favorite all-time books, and I just watched the latest
The movie. Mhm.
Yeah, but I love her. I love her willingness to push outside the box.
Yeah.
You know, to not let those confines keep her down. And I really personally try to live that. I mean, I think we're doing that in our business, and I'm trying to do that more and more personally. And I like her confidence in herself. So trying to
Good choice.
channel my Joe. Yeah.
I feel bad. I'm blanking on the name of the person. But it's the main character from Tangled, which of course is a Disney movie.
Yes, you love Disney.
Yeah, basically Rapunzel. But just if you've seen the movie, just kind of her powerfulness, right? Her like ambitiousness, kind of real adventure seeking, like determined to figure out the answers of things, but also just like happy-go-lucky and Disney magical princess fairy unicorn.
That's
life.
definitely
That's
Caitlin.
me.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for giving us insight into the topic that you love, which is collaboration. And I hope that we can collaborate someday soon, hopefully.
Absolutely.
You'll be out here soon in San Diego, so we'll definitely be seeing you. And if people want to connect with you, they can connect with you on all the platforms, but I'm assuming that Instagram is your preferred connection.
We'll see you first.
Yes,
for sure.
At Simply Social NM. Any last words, Chris?
What about like your website? Do you guys have a website?
Simply socialmedianm.com.
Yeah.
And really improved as of a month ago.
It is.
We completely redid it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. And if you are catching the end of this, go to businessafpod.com and watch the replay, or it may be on a podcast platform near you soon. So thank you, ladies.
Thanks for
Thank
having
Thank
us.
you.
It was a blast.
Bye.